Hey everybody, Randy with Rashley's BBQ. Today we're going to be doing a recipe that my mom showed me, her mom showed her. It's just a basic homemade soup slash stew. We boil it long enough with the potatoes in it that it thickens up a little bit, and it's somewhere in between a soup and a stew. So let me get the ingredients together and we'll get started. The ingredients in this soup are going to be pretty simple. We're going to use about 3 pounds of stew meat. It's frozen. Some I had stuck in the freezer. We're going to toss in a can of whole kernel corn, a large can, 28-ounce petite diced tomatoes, 15-ounce can of tomato sauce. We're going to toss in some of these little miniature ears of corn, little nibblers they're called. And then we're going to peel and dice up some potatoes. Really, that's going to be about it. Normally, I would put a can of Veg-All, which is just canned vegetables in there, but we're out, so we're just going to go with what we got. Junk out of the pantry and out of the freezer. We're going to make it into a soup. We've thawed the meat in the Dutch oven. We went ahead and drained the meat. I put some extra virgin olive oil in the bottom of the Dutch oven. We got it heating up. We're going to put the meat back in. The drained meat so it doesn't stew, but we'll just get it back in there so we can brown it off. Now without all that moisture, it'll brown off as opposed to just simmering and turning gray. We're browning now. Oh yeah, it smells good. It's getting a brown color. Look at all that brown in the bottom of the pot. Oh, that's going to come up and just be a layer of flavor. While this was browning, we went ahead and chopped up an onion, one whole onion. Into the meat that's browning off, we're going to go ahead and put some onion powder. Not onion salt, onion powder. That's maybe a teaspoon. It's almost empty. That's why I had to shake it so hard. A little bit of garlic powder. Half a teaspoon or so. It's just about browned off well enough we can go ahead and start adding the wet ingredients. We're going to go in with that can of tomato sauce. I'm going to let that tomato sauce brown just a little bit to kind of give it a deeper flavor. And then we'll hit it with some water to stop the browning process. All right, hit it with the water and that'll stop it from browning the tomato sauce. We're going to go in with this 28-ounce can of petite diced tomatoes, juice and all. And then we're going to go in with a 15-ounce can of whole kernel corn, which we've drained. We'll go ahead and add that onion now. Kind of your personal choice. If you prefer, you could add the onion while the meat's browning and kind of saute off the onions, but this is going to boil for a couple hours. We want to get the meat real tender. Those onions are going to wilt down anyway. Got the potatoes that I had peeled, chopped into fairly large chunks, which is the way my wife likes them. We had them in some water to keep them from turning brown. We're going to go ahead and go in with as many as we can. Yeah, they'll all fit. Then I'm going to add water and bring it up to the top. Let it simmer for a little bit, and then we'll add some of this corn. Let it finish off. Pot got a lot fuller than I thought it would. We've got 4 ears of corn in it. We got the potatoes in it. We're just going to add some clean water here. As much as we dare. And now we're going to let it come to a boil. And here in a little while, we'll add some of this Knorrs Caldo de Pollo. It's chicken flavored bouillon. It's kind of salty. We'll put that in as our salt, and it'll also be like kind of adding chicken stock. I know, you saw it coming, right? We split up the soup between two boilers so we'd have more room to work. So we've got a second boiler of soup over there. Let's go ahead and hit this with some Knorrs. I'm just going to add a bit to each one. Let it simmer in just a little bit and then check it to see how salty it is. So here's what we got so far. Hasn't started to simmer yet, but we got the meat, potatoes, onion, corn. We'll just let it come up to a simmer. We're going to let it simmer for a couple hours so that meat gets real good and tender. Know we added garlic powder, but I think I'm going to go ahead and add some chopped garlic out of the jar. Maybe around a tablespoon in each pot, more or less. And last but not least, some ground pepper, black pepper, and some fajita seasoning. This is Fiesta brand fajita seasoning. Made right here in San Antonio, well not here, but here in Texas, in San Antonio, Texas. Give that a little stir for each one. And I'm going to stop right there on the seasonings till we get them simmering good and give them a taste test. We dipped up a little bit just to let it cool so we can taste for seasonings. Pretty close. I think I'm going to hit it with just a little bit more of that fajita seasoning, the Fiesta brand, and call it good. Then we'll let it finish simmering till the meat gets soft. When it's tender, we're going to dip it up with some homemade cornbread and go to town. Fresh hot cornbread. And a bowl of homemade soup. Gonna have to let it cool off a little bit. Still steaming. Got the homemade cornbread here. Ah, steam coming off of it. That's a good sign, right? Just can't beat homemade cornbread. Got the soup. We're gonna dip up one with a little piece of meat in it. We put that fajita seasoning in it. You can definitely taste the fajita seasoning. Black pepper, not too much tomato. We kept it, you can see, we kept it kind of thin, but it's almost to a stew consistency, but still a good soup. Cut up a little piece of potato there. Potatoes are nice and tender. They absorb the flavor of that fajita seasoning, the tomatoes, the onions. It all came together. We simmered it for about 2.5 hours. Meat's super tender. It's delicious. With fresh cornbread, you just can't go wrong. You know, you got to do the cornbread dip, right? That's required by law. There's just no words. That's delicious. Well, we hope you all enjoyed it. I'm going to put the recipe in the description box. I hope you'll subscribe. Click the subscribe box over here. If you're not a subscriber, click like. And come back tomorrow when we're going to be cooking a bison brisket. We're going to do it low and slow on either the Primo or the Yoder. We're not sure yet, but hope you all will tune in tomorrow. Randy with Rashley's Border Q saying adios, and we'll see you all down the road.